Hey guys, Phoenix Spring Tarot. So I'll be doing a current energy reading into the TGIF situation. So this is the situation with the Funky Dineva, Arman, Al, and Claudia. So when I originally wanted to do this reading, and this was back to the point where, if you remember the roast, sorry guys about my camera. So this was just after Arman's roast. I was going to do a reading on that. And when I did the initial channeled messages, one of the messages I got was that the fish rots from the head, quote unquote. That is the message that I got. And I assumed that that message was related to Claudia. So I was all ready to do a reading on it, and my spirit guides told me, no, hold off. There was more to unfold. So I held off and I didn't do the reading. And at the point of doing this reading now, Arman has provided a response to Funky Dineva, calling him immature. Funky Dineva has responded to Arman, and apparently they're having a conversation to get to the bottom of things. Just last night, the recording of TGIF Zoom calls between Al, Claudia, Arman, and production have been released. Text messages from Al have been released. So at this point, all roads seem to be leading to Al for being the mastermind behind all the confusion in the background, playing people off against each other. And a lot of YouTube commentators have jumped on this bandwagon and assumption. So I'm just saying, for the sake of this reading, I am not taking any positions on this. I just want to do an unbiased reading relating to the energies around this situation. And the reason why I want to do it that way is because I feel that taking sides and looking at it from that perspective is really low-hanging fruit, and I feel that there are bigger spiritual lessons at play, which a lot of people aren't talking about, which we can learn and look at and incorporate into our day-to-day lives. So in this reading, what we'll be looking at is why Al hasn't come out yet and why he hasn't said anything yet. We'll also be looking at the energies around this, and if any predictive messages come through, we'll deliver those predictive messages as well. And we'll also go into some of the channeled responses around this, because I have some channeled responses as I was meditating for this reading. Okay. One of the first channel messages, while I shuffle the cards and cleanse them and get the energy ready, one of the channeled messages that I was getting, ooh, let's watch that Wheel of Fortune, something, okay. I feel this is Al with this Wheel of Fortune, but we'll come to that in a bit. One of the main key channel messages that I was getting regarding this, before we go into tarot, oh, and I'll put timestamps down below, by the way. One of the key, hang on, just one moment. I'm all over the place for this reading. My apologies. Spirit guides, guardian angels of the highest light and frequency, please protect myself. Please protect those viewing this reading. May we only access messages of the highest divine frequency, the highest accuracy, and the highest light. And may the messages that we channel be for the benefit of the collective viewing this reading. May it provide us with insights into this situation. Thank you. Blessings. Okay, right. So one of the channel messages that I was receiving for this is that this situation, rather the whole situation, is what they're calling, to an extent, you know what, sorry guys, I'm all over the place for this. We're going to go into the tarot. They want me to go into the tarot, so let's do that. Okay, so let's go into the tarot. And I'll deliver the channeled messages during the tarot. Okay. So we have the Queen of Cups and we have the Three of Swords that are coming through. This Queen of Cups is, they're really, this Queen of Cups represents multiple people here. But one of the people I'm seeing that it represents is Claudia. And with the Three of Swords, I now understand why they wanted me not to go into the channeled messages and go into the tarot right away. I get it. I'll tell you guys later. What Claudia feels, Claudia's feeling a lot of betrayal on a whole number of levels. She's feeling betrayal by Al, by Funky Dineva, and by one other person. She's feeling betrayed by. I don't know who this other person is. Now, this other sword, we could say that it represents like an institution, let's say Fox Soul or something like that. But even though that may be true in the context of what I'm channeling now, this is another person. So some other person behind the scenes that Claudia feels betrayed by. They're also drawing me to call Claudia holding this cup. And this is coming back to one of the channeled messages that I had going into this, which I'll give now. And it's a matter of, okay, how do you not own your intellectual property? Because here's the thing, oh my gosh, sorry guys. Because a lot of this with Claudia deciding to bring Al and Funky Dineva together and the concept for the show and everything else, it is really Claudia's brainchild. That's her holding this cup here. It's something that she nurtured, it's something that she developed. When she talks about putting people on and putting people on the map and wanting to work and collaborate with people, with Cups talks about emotions, right? So that's where she's getting her emotional fulfillment. That really fills her cup up. And what I'm seeing here is a feeling that someone feels betrayed. It's sort of like something that she's worked really hard for. She feels betrayed that it's fallen apart, basically. But there is something about her intellectual property and her owning the show and her having really more control and everything over the show and over her brainchild. It's as if there's some betrayal when it comes to that as well. Okay, I don't know what the ins and outs of her. I'm just picking up someone not having that control and that being heartbreaking for someone. A lot of this is Claudia's energy. There is more that's come through. We'll come to Al in a moment. There is a naivety with the Three of Swords, and it's as if she walked into that situation of the betrayal. That's what's coming up here. Again, I'm doing this from an unbiased perspective. I'm not casting any judgment. I'm not taking any sides. I'm just reading the energies around this, right? It's as if she was naive, either regarding someone or a group of people regarding this situation. You know, and they're drawing me to the fact that she should have known better, or she didn't. With this dog hair, with the same white of the dog hair and the white that somebody's wearing, there's something regarding someone in this situation that she didn't want to see, or she didn't want to know. So it's sort of like someone walking into a betrayal. And they're telling me in my head again, it's intellectual property. It's something that she was meant to own and she was meant to control that she doesn't. There is something they're giving me. I'm getting a sensation in my body, like in my stomach. It's like a burning. It's like a bitter feeling that I'm getting in the pit of my stomach, in my sacral chakra regarding this. There's really a lot of upset and resentment that she has, that Claudia has regarding this. But again, if she digs below the surface, I think a lot of that anger and resentment is coming through regarding herself. Because there is something that she didn't want to see, there's something that she didn't want to know. It's her instincts that she was doubting regarding a situation that has now manifested. Like she walked into it trusting people. However, with the Strength card and the Wands, this is something, it's a realization she's coming to. It's a lesson learned. For her, it's a lesson learned. I feel moving forward, she would be navigating herself in a different way. She would be operating in a different way. With the Eight of Wands, I'm not sure who this magician is. I'm not sure whether she is coming out with either, because notice that infinity symbol above the head. It's like there's some lesson that she's learned, some realization that she's had. And I'm not surprised that those Zoom calls have been released around the Lionsgate 8-8 portal. Notice that we have the 8 over the head. I feel that with Mercury retrograde as well happening around this 8-8 portal, this 8-8 portal has been rough due to the Mercury retrograde energy. Mercury retrograde energy talks about, oh my gosh, I just saw this. Notice guys, we have 8 here, 8 above the head, 8 above the head. This is what I'm talking about, the Lionsgate Mercury retrograde energy. We have 3 8s on the board here. It's with the retrograde energy, Mercury retrograde. Retrograde talks about going in the past. Mercury is all, in the context of this reading, is talking about information. So this is someone going back in the past and bringing out more receipts. And with the magician energy and with the strength card, it's having the courage to reverse all this betrayal and everything else that has happened. And it's to take control of the narrative. Notice she's taming the beast. Oh my God, we have the lion. We're in Leo season. August the 8th, Leo season. Oh my goodness, the synchronicities in this energy is crazy. But it's someone coming in and having the courage to tame the beast that she's faced with, take back control of her narrative. It's someone who has the courage to learn their lessons. And with the Eight of Wands, with this Eight of Wands talks about action and things happening, there is more to come. So at the moment we have seen the Zoom calls and everything else, but apparently there is more to come and there's more to be put out around this. Okay, so that's Claudia's energy. Spirit guides, guardian angels, thank you for those messages. What else can you let us know? Yeah, if I'm going to say this, and this is, we'll see what happens in the future. This is a future prediction read. I feel that there may be another show coming out. I don't know if behind the scenes they are discussing the relaunch of TGIF, TGIF, right? Or TFI, right? Oh, for goodness sake, don't tell me I can't even know the name of this show. Hang on. Let me, TFI, this is embarrassing. I'm sure that I have it in my, TGIF, there we go, right, TEAT. I wonder if they are, once everything is out in the open, I wonder whether, yeah, when everything's being out in the open, everything's being said and done, I wonder whether they're going to try and relaunch this again or launch a variation of this. We'll wait and see. We will wait and see. The reason why I say this is, it appears to me like this is Claudia's energy, like Claudia's coming through as an entrepreneur. There are a number of things that she has tried to launch that haven't been successful. It's as if there's something else that she wants to try to launch again. We'll see. We will see. Let's put that in our back pocket, but we will see. Also, what I'm picking up with this energy as well, with the 3 here, the 3 is coming up next to the 2. So what this is saying to me here, it's 3 people specifically who are going to be coming together, and it's as if they're going to be making amends with each other. Because with the 2 here, there is something that, it's like different people had different aspects of a situation. Not everyone was able to see the complete situation, and it's as if they're going to be coming together, they're going to be talking about this, and they're going to be making amends with each other. Because with the Sun card, everything is going to be revealed, everything is going to be coming to light. So it's sort of shining light on what someone couldn't see or what someone didn't want to open their hearts to receive. That's another message that's coming through as well. And notice that we have 4 people in this situation. You know, we have Al, we have Claudia, we have Armand, Al, Claudia, Armand, and Funky. We have 4, but we're only seeing 3 here. And the reason why I'm saying that is that with these 3 people, like this should, and I think what everyone is, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud that everyone is thinking. People worked hard at this situation. People knew the potential of this situation, and they were working hard to unpluck the potential. But it's as if they were not able to do so. And there was another frustration as to why. So everyone too, with the 3 of Swords shining over that, a lot of people had their own disappointment as to whether, and their own bitterness as to why they were putting in so much effort to this and it wasn't able to be successful. There's a lot of 3 synchronicity here because we have 3 people making up. We have this 3 betrayal here. And it's interesting, there are 4 people involved here, but it's only 3 cards coming up. So definitely this is pointing in the direction of someone being, one person being to blame for all of this. And at the bottom of the deck, we have one person who is a King of Wands here, looking in on all of this, looking in on people making amends, looking in on people. It's almost as if there's someone who is frozen out. Someone with this Eight of Wands and with this King of Wands, someone is about to step forward and either provide additional information and insights on this, or they're going to make a move. This may very well be Al, because when I was shuffling earlier, we got a Wheel of Fortune here, and I said this was Al's energy. So I think he may be stepping out and beginning to make a play. So let's see what this play is. So what's the energy with Al? What is the energy with Al Reynolds? Ooh. What is the energy with Al Reynolds? He has to watch his mental health, that is for sure. When you get a Tower and a Wheel of Fortune, this situation is not over yet. This situation is far from over. This situation is really far from over. Al, there's something about a mental health. I'll say this, I'm surprised that Al, and again, this is from an unbiased position, blah, blah, blah. I'm surprised that he hasn't come out and made a workplace claim or other, talking about, let's say, toxic work environment or that sort of thing, and the effect of a work environment on your mental health. I am surprised that he hasn't come out and said that. But from Al's perspective, I'm in Al's energy now. So we're seeing things from his perspective, all right? So don't shoot the messenger. I'm just talking about things. I'm channeling his energies. It's from his perspective. He blames and puts everything squarely on Claudia's doorstep. It's like he feels that Claudia is responsible for tying him up and holding him back. He feels there's something about like a passive-aggressive, petty energy or something like that that Claudia apparently has, that he's felt that he's needed to fight against. But what I'm seeing here is that it's something that has eroded his confidence. I'm picking up at the Eight of Swords. It's eroded his confidence. It's bringing him anxiety. There's a lot of insecurity in his energy here. There's a lot of, it's as if his thoughts and his head operates into overdrive. Like someone could say the smallest thing and it's as if he builds it up in his head for it to mean something else, which it doesn't necessarily mean. It's as if someone felt powerless to really come back at people, to give back what he was receiving, is the message I'm getting in Al's energy here. I'm picking up on someone as well with the Ten of Cups who had great dreams and aspirations for this role and for this opportunity. And what I'm picking up here, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, I'm happy to be wrong on this, but it's as if by the time this show, TGIF, came through for him, he was happy that it came through because he himself had been working away at stuff and it was as if he was slipping back into oblivion. So he was grateful for the opportunity to come through, you know, to put him on a platform. So when they're saying things like he wanted to ruin the show, he wanted to this and that, I'm not picking up on that per se. I'm not picking up on the fact that he wanted to ruin the show or he didn't want the show to be anymore. This show, from a Ten of Cups perspective here, was meant to be his meal ticket or his jump off point to other opportunities, is what I'm picking up here. This is what he wished. But what I'm picking up with the Seven of Wands is that he was having difficulty making that happen. I feel that he had his own issues. He had his own issues with two people here, or collaborating with people. It's like in this, people were trying to tell him what to do, how to act, how to this, how to that. And remember on one of the Zoom calls, I think they were accusing him of cutting people off or this or that. Here's the thing with the Zoom calls. How much time am I on? Oh, goodness, 22. I'll be quick. Here's the thing with the Zoom calls. Everyone's jumping to conclusion because of 2 Zoom calls that were published. But what people are forgetting is putting things in perspective. Right? This is a show that's been running for about 3+ years. So you could just only imagine how many recorded Zoom calls there probably were. We're only seeing one tiny aspect of a greater whole. And what's coming through here, it's as if Al, from his perspective, was made to feel like he felt from his perspective that he was following instructions, he was doing things by the book, he was doing what everyone was telling him to do. But it's as if he was either being put down for that, or he never really felt comfortable in his skin. Now here we have the 5 of Swords and the Page of Swords. And we have 2 people walking away from him, and the Page of Swords talks about rumors, it talks about innuendo and everything else. But here's the thing though, and this is coming up in Al's energy. So a lot of what's being said about Al's this, Al's that, on the surface of it, it appears to be true, because this 5 of Swords and him getting the upper hand in the situations behind the scenes so far is what's coming through. Page of Swords, someone planting rumors, planting innuendo. So it appears that that is in his energy. It wasn't in Claudia's energy. I'm not really seeing Funky Dineva in this. However, I think Al is going to come through with something. Again, I'm coming back to that Tower and I'm coming back to that Wheel of Fortune. We'll see. We'll see if this is, and we see 2 people being pushed out of the window here, a woman and a man. We'll see what, and we're seeing something hidden here. So this is someone who, 4 of Swords, they've taken themselves out of the situation. But it's like they have an ace in the hole and they're watching the situation going on there. Again, we have the 3. We have the 3 here. We have the 3 here. So 3s are very prominent. We have 3 8s. Okay? So we have someone here who is watching the situation very closely. They have an ace up their sleeve and it seems as if they're waiting for the right situation to play that card. This is someone who's doing that. At the moment, it's coming up in Al's energy. So it could be him or it may be someone else. Around Al, Claudia, it may be someone else. This is not the Zoom calls energy. The reason being because the Zoom calls, the reason why I'm saying it's not the Zoom calls that is this week, because we didn't expect the Zoom calls, right? So when it's something that we don't expect, we would have the Tower and we'll have the Wheel. But I feel because I'm doing this reading after some of the Zoom calls have been released, I feel that this is something else that's coming through, something else that's going to raise the temperature and raise the ante on this situation. There is something else that's coming through. These people are doing their healing in public, that is for sure. But there is something else that's coming through in this energy here. Because it's as if Al is sitting down and he's like looking at everyone play their cards. And this is the thing about, I don't know if I mentioned this, but what my spirit guides were saying in terms of the channel, no, I didn't, because it was a channel message and I didn't say it. There's a lot regarding emotional integrity, emotional maturity that appears to be really very much lacking in this situation. And I feel if it's one thing that Al seems to have above everyone, I don't know, I'm surprised he hasn't come out and he hasn't said anything yet. I feel that he knows coming out and saying something is not going to be his strong suit, so he plays to his strengths in terms of how he's choosing to navigate this situation. But there's something else that's going to be huge and is going to be explosive that's coming through. And it's not, I mean, this is Claudia is going to be painted in a bad light. And this other person, this could very well be Arman. I'm not sure who it is. Okay. Is any final messages? Yep. Something's coming through for sure. Whatever is coming through here is, I saw a Page of Cups under the deck, so it's going to be a surprise. So if you're being paid 250,000 for 5 hours work per day, you're only working 4 days a week, and you still can't make this work, you can't put your head down and just make things happen. Or if you know, let's say you turn up to a workplace and someone whispers something in your ear about someone else, you just immediately take that person's perspective and or point of view instead of trying to get that information yourself. I mean, this could very well go to court. People have been talking about this for a while, but we have with the Hierophant energy, this may very well go to court. I am surprised that they're putting out the Zoom calls and doing all this stuff is really doing the most. Because even if you have those recordings, how could you did anyone consult lawyers before they put private, even if your calls are recorded, wouldn't those calls be the property of Foxhole? Wouldn't they be, it's like, these people are so caught up in what the public thinks of them and how they would be perceived, that they're just caught up in a narrative and wanting to clear things. Whereas if they had just let the temperature settle on this would have very well just gone away. And we would have then be listening about Carisha talking about Diddy and with her Carisha please on Revolt. Do you know what I mean? This thing could very well have blown over. And let's not forget, and this is the thing that people are forgetting at the center of this, the reason why any of this came to the forefront in the first place was Arman, of course, sorry, I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. Him doing that, calling what he just insulted Al on live TV. That's the crux of this. And they could try to whitewash it however they want to whitewash it by saying it's a roast. I asked them if they wanted to read it and they said no. And it's just like, but you need to have the emotional intelligence and acumen to know that coming out and discrediting and undermining your colleague, whether it's right or whether it's right or whether you're justified, is not the point. It's about professionalism. And this is what my spirit guides were saying from the moment I started doing this in terms of the lesson of this. Don't matter how much someone pushes you or drives you to the edge or whatever, you have to have control of yourself. You know, this is the second time Arman has been in this situation. The first time was with Jason Lee, and the second time it's here. And it's like whenever he joins something, there is always, now it could be that when Arman is going in, he's the truth sayer, right? It could be that. Because one thing with Arman Wiggins' energy, he is talented AF, I would say, right? And he's very in tune with who he is and his energy and everything else. He's very, very much talented. Believe that. He has huge things in front of him, but there's a side of him that seems to sabotage himself or shoot himself in the underfoot at the same time. Right? There is something about the way you go about doing things and also you having control over yourself, because as much as they want to window dress it and call what Arman did as a roast, quote unquote, it wasn't. That was because I remember watching it when it first came up, and I believe I caught that show live over in the UK, and I remember seeing him just go in on Al, and I was just like, no, no, no. I know what a roast is, even though we're over in the UK. UK, we are the kings and queens of self-deprecation and sarcasm and everything else, right? So we understand roasts. And Claudia was just trying to say, oh, that's a roast, that's a roast. No, it wasn't. It really, really wasn't. You could hear in his voice the malice, and there was a lot of energy that was sitting behind what he was saying, number one. And number two is also what he said. And what he said was looking to discredit his colleague on the show. So it's because of him, he was the tipping point that made things spill over into the general public. right? And that is the thing, and that's where I feel that Al has a case, because he hasn't come out and he hasn't said anything, and this is what people are missing. Irrespective of whether you feel Al has been doing things behind the scenes and Al is justified and Al is whatever, there is still a particular way of handling situations and people. Irrespective of whether HR says that, you go to HR and you complain and HR says it's not our issue, it's yours. You then have a decision to make about that. Whether you stay, whether you go, you have a choice. It's just like your emotional integrity and intelligence around something and how you handle something. You are three people and it's one person who is spreading rumors and whatever, but the both of you know that, Claudia and Armand, both of you know that you have each other's back, you're seeing for each other, you know what the innuendo, you know what's going through, or someone's trying to pitch you against each other. You've come together, you've realized that, okay, so both of you know that. Just act accordingly and act professionally. Like, two people could be more powerful than one person once you stay in the energy, in the high vibration of your integrity. But if we're really calling a bean, the reason why they couldn't do that is because the situation spilled over in Armand doing that roast, and here, this is where we are. Okay, I've spoken too much. Bye, guys.